Hi, this is Lou and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to do some gel printing. So I have a jelly plate that I've used for years and it works really well, but today I thought I'd show you how to make one. So this is Vege-gel. It's a vegetarian alternative to gelatin, and I'm just going to make it up, put it into a container. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker than it says to do on the packet, and that's pretty much it really. It's really simple, and the benefit of this one is that it sets in seconds. You don't need to keep it in the fridge either. So I'm going to do this. Right, so I've got a jug to put my Vege-gel in. I'm using 2 of the sachets today. It comes with 3, but I'm just going to use 2 for the size of container that I've got. This is A5, and if you're using a bigger container you could make more. And then I've got a pan and a spoon for stirring. That's it. So I've got my 200 ml of water. It's important that it's cold. And then I just empty the sachets into it. Give it a stir until there are no lumps left. Once that's dissolved, pour it into a pan. And heat it up. Once the mixture is heated, pour it into a container. If there are any really big bubbles on the surface, you can pop them. And just leave it for a few minutes to set. Right, it's about 5 minutes later. This is the gel plate that I've made, and you can see it's solid now. It's actually cool to the touch, and I'm ready to go. And I've got a few things out that I think I'm going to use. I've got a brayer, and I've got some paper to print on. I've got some just plain cartridge paper. This happens to be recycled. And then this is wet strength tissue paper. It comes in big sheets, so I've cut it down into more manageable sizes. I've got a spray bottle of water, a cloth for cleaning up, just a piece of kitchen towel for wiping up any soggy bits. I've got some paints. I've got different types of paints here. They're all acrylics. I've got some System 3 acrylics in a few different colours. And then I've got some of these golden fluid acrylics. They're a bit more runny, and I've got quite a few of these little bottles in different shades. I've got more like special effectsy ones. So this one's a gold. And then because I've got gold, I've also got this one, which is Lascaux Studio Bronze, which is a lovely gold. I've also got a bit of this, which I might use, which is a retarder. So you add this to paints and it stops them drying so quickly. So if I find that things are drying a bit too fast, I can add a little bit of that and hopefully slow the process down, give myself more time to work. And then I've got some things to print with. I just want some random things for making marks. So I've got a toothpick. I've got some botanicals. So I've been to the beach and I picked up some random grasses. These could be a bit random because they are likely to spread seed heads everywhere, so I might leave them for the end. And I've got a little selection of leaves as well. So I'm going to have fun playing with these. Right, let's clear the decks and I will get the gel plate out. Oh, I forgot to say, I've also got a piece of acetate just to put my gel plate on, just to protect the surface underneath it. Okay, so this is the gel plate. Just got to try and get it out without tearing it or damaging it. It should pop out quite nicely once you kind of loosen it. Oh, I've already got a seed in it. There we go. Right, we're out. And that can go on there. And it doesn't matter which way up you put it. Obviously, if you've got any markings in the bottom of your box, if you put it bottom way up, then they'll show up. But I don't in this case. You'll find that this is softer than like a shop bought jelly plate, and you have to be a bit more gentle with it. But still it works. And if anything goes wrong with the process of making it, or if you gouge into it or anything like that, put it back in the pan, melt it all down, pour it again, and you should be fine. I'm going to put a piece of my plain white paper underneath it so I can see the colours a bit better. And I'm going to put a piece to the side just for cleaning my brayer. Let's see if I can straighten that up a bit. And then let's just choose some paint. Let's go for this Prussian blue. Right, let's clean off the excess on there. Oh, and I've got a dint in it. Never mind. Right, now my goal today is just to try and create some interesting shapes and textures. So let's try some of these leaves. Oh, and I've got a visitor on that one. Come on. There we go. Right. Right. Okay, let's try those. And let's try them on a sheet of the recycled paper. So the first one is going to give me solid areas of colours where the leaves aren't. Well, solid-ish. Like that. And then when I take the leaves off, I should be left with some really interesting shapes. So let's see what we've got. There we go, that's quite nice. Okay, there's a little bit of blue left on there. I can just wipe that off, or I could just leave it for the next one. So this is Payne's Grey. For this I want to make some marks on my surface. So I've got my toothpick and I'm just going to really lightly drag it across the surface. I don't want to dig in at all because it's really simple. It's really easy, especially with these homemade plates, to damage the surface. because it is a lot softer. See if I can draw my slow lines all the way across before it all dries. There we go. Right. For this I'm going to use some of the wet strength tissue paper. Now this has a shiny side and a rough side, and I haven't figured out yet which side is the best, so I'm going to do some on each and see if it makes any difference whatsoever. You can really tell where it's stuck all the way around. Okay, that's quite interesting. I think I've got enough there for a second print. The first one I did on the rough side, so this one I'm going to do on the shiny side. Oh, bit of a crease in it. Let's give it a bit of a roll on the back. Press it all the way down. And that's come up quite nicely as well. There's still even more paint left on here. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for a few seconds, and I'm going to roll some opaque pale colour out on top and see how much of it picks up. Okay, let's try with some of this titanium white. Oh, it's quite a lot there. Oh, I think there was maybe too much white on there. It's a bit sticky, but it has picked up a lot of that colour. So I think I've got enough on there to do another print, so let's do that. There we go. There's another one. Again, pretty good. This is 4 prints I've had with the same pattern on it. That it's very subtle, but my plan is to use it for something that I'm going to need some subtle textures for, so that's great. I'm going to try one of the golden paints now, and this is turquoise. And I think these are much more transparent colours. I think I haven't maybe got enough on there. Let's maybe try a little bit more. And then with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it with a spray bottle just to get a few droplets on it in a few areas. And then when I lift it, I should get an interesting texture on the paper. So I don't know if you can see that, but I do have some splashes there. It's just not uniform. I've got, like, where the water was, it's a little bit lighter. It's hot on the tissue, so it's a bit hard to see. This colour is Titan Buff. It's essentially the acrylic version of my favourite Buff Titanium that Daniel Smith do in watercolour, but this is an acrylic and it's Golden's colour. And I'm just mixing it with the paint that was already on the plate. Let's go back to some of the leaves that I have. Okay, I've got some interesting negative space on there. Now I could try and print the same thing again. I will end up with the same piece of paper again. I'm not going to get it lined up perfectly, but I don't think I really need to. There we go. I do want some nice golds, so I'm going to use some of this. This is iridescent gold fine. It may end up a little bit turquoisey because of the paint that's already on my roller and on the plate. But that's okay. And I'm going to print onto the piece of the tissue paper, but first I'm going to crease it up. Right. Lovely. And I've got a lovely pattern left on there too. Let's print that over this one here. That's going to be dry enough. Oh yes, very nice, I like that very much. Right, I think I'm going to have to do a few more of them. I do want some nice rusty red colours as well. This is quinacridone nickel azo gold. I want to make some marks in this as well, and I've got this, which is a dried up cow parsley. So let's try making some sweeping curves with that. Let's get them to overlap a bit. Okay, see how that comes out. Oh, very nice. There's a little bit of a sheen on there because the last colour I printed was some gold, and there's still some gold on the plate, and that looks lovely with the with the paint on top, that rusty orange colour. So I am going to try some of my grasses on here, and I want to kind of place them across the way. Let's see if we can get the seed head. I might not. It might be a bit too bulky, but you know, we can try. I have a feeling if I put this soft fluffy seed head down on the plate, I may end up picking seeds out of it for the rest of time. Right, let's try this again. So far I haven't found any noticeable difference between using the shiny side of the wet strength tissue paper and the matte side. So I can't tell you if there's a difference. Doesn't seem to be at the minute. Not in terms of the amount of colour it picks up anyway. Oh, I've got some interesting shapes on there, and the seed heads have looked quite interesting. Let's see what I get when I pick them up with the next pull. There we go, that's really nice. I do have some seeds in there. Let's see if I can get those out of there without damaging the plate. Oh, I think that one has been pushed inside. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to carry on printing, sticking with my neutrals, blues and kind of rusty browns colour palette. A little bit of gold, and my aim today is just to get a whole load of different papers that I can use for collage for different projects, and to try out some techniques and have a bit of a play. So I'm going to keep going, and I'll come back to you at the end with what I've made. So here are all of the papers I painted in that session, and you can see there's quite a lot. I wanted to do a lot because then that means I'm not going to be precious about them. I know that I can always make them again, and I've got lots to play with. So let me show you some of my favourites. So these ones are made using the grasses and seed heads, and I like the kind of crisscrossing shapes on here. This one was layered on top of a kind of a blue background, and then some of the botanical ones, the leaves, look really interesting. Got some really interesting kind of shapes and textures in there. This one was done using my little found botanical seed head that I dragged across the page. And I quite like some of the textures in there. And then this one was done with the toothpick, using on some gold. I really liked some of the crinkly ones that I did. So here's some of the tissue that was crinkled up and printed. And then this is one that was blue and then overprinted with the gold. And then I even liked just the paper that I used to roll the brayer out on. I think I might use that. And then this one was a bit of a fail, but I think I can still use it. So it's got like the ghostly images of some leaves on there, but it's got lots of colour and texture, and once I I can isolate different bits of it, and I can find really interesting uses for it. So even the ones that like didn't really go to plan, I can definitely do something with. So that's it for this week. Really hope that you've enjoyed this one. Something a little bit different. I felt the need to break out of just doing watercolour and kind of go back to doing some mixed media work. And what's coming next week is I'm going to use these papers to make something. So thanks very much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks, bye bye.